I was 23 when I attended my last Halloween party, though I didn't know it would be my last. My best friend Drew had been throwing these annual masquerade parties since we graduated college. This year's party was at an old mansion he rented out for the night. One of those decaying, gothic homes that looked straight out of a horror movie. It was perched on a hill outside the city, away from neighbors and noise complaints. The kind of place people told ghost stories about, but we all shrugged it off as just part of the Halloween ambience. The invitation was clear: a masquerade. Everyone had to wear a mask, no exceptions. Drew was a stickler for themes, and he wanted the party to feel mysterious, like a scene from a classic horror film. So, we all showed up in our finest costumes, masked in everything from elegant Venetian designs to grotesque horror figures. It was around 11 p.m. when I arrived. Drew had spared no expense, of course. The mansion was covered in cobwebs, eerie lighting, and fake blood splatters. There were animatronic figures hiding in the corners, ready to jump scare anyone who got too close. A DJ was set up in the large ballroom, spinning spooky tunes, while a fog machine cloaked the dance floor in mist. People were already drinking, dancing, and laughing, their masks disguising their faces, but not their drunken excitement. I quickly found Drew, who was dressed as some kind of Victorian gentleman, his face obscured by a porcelain mask that covered half his face, a nod to the Phantom of the Opera. He greeted me with a slap on the back and handed me a drink. "Man, this place is insane," I said, looking around at the grandeur of the mansion. Drew grinned. "Wait until you see the basement. That's where we're setting up the haunted maze. It's legit scary down there." I wasn't sure if he was joking or not, but I figured it was all part of the act. The night continued like any other party. People drinking too much, some sneaking off into dark corners. A few hours in, I lost track of Drew. He had a habit of disappearing at his own parties, getting caught up in conversations or drinking contests with strangers. Around 1 a.m., things started to get weird. I was on the second floor, standing on the balcony overlooking the dance floor, when I saw a figure that didn't belong. Everyone was in costume, sure, but this person, they were different. They were wearing an old, weathered mask, cracked porcelain, stained with what looked like age and dirt. Unlike the other guests, who were laughing and dancing, this person just stood still in the corner watching. I felt a chill creep up my spine. Something about the mask unsettled me. It wasn't part of Drew's decorations, and I hadn't seen anyone wear a costume that old-fashioned. But I shrugged it off. Just some guy trying too hard to be creepy. About 30 minutes later, I was downstairs, sipping my drink, when the power cut out. At first, we all thought it was part of the show. Drew liked to pull pranks. But then, I heard a scream from somewhere upstairs. The music stopped, and people began murmuring. I looked around, trying to find Drew or anyone I recognized, but it was hard with everyone in masks. The scream came again, louder this time, followed by the sound of footsteps running. People began to panic. It wasn't long before another scream tore through the air, this time from the basement. I felt my stomach drop. Something was very wrong. Okay, everybody calm down," I heard someone yell from the back of the room. "It's probably part of the show." But deep down, I knew it wasn't. The fear in those screams wasn't something you could fake. A few of us, including me, decided to investigate. I don't know what drove me to be one of the brave, or foolish few, but my feet were moving before I could think twice. We went upstairs where the first scream had come from, and found a door ajar. Inside was one of Drew's friends, Megan. She was curled up in a corner, her face white as a sheet. "What happened?" I asked, kneeling beside her. She was trembling, clutching her mask like it was a lifeline. "I saw him," she whispered. "That man. His mask? It wasn't part of the party. He had a knife." A cold wave of dread washed over me. This wasn't a prank. We rushed back downstairs to warn everyone, but the panic had already set in. People were pushing toward the exits, trying to get out, but someone had locked the doors from the outside. Phones were pulled out to call the police, but the signal was weak, probably because of the mansion's location. I started looking for Drew, but there was no sign of him. Then we heard the basement door creak open. The sound cut through the frantic whispers and sent everyone into silence. A figure emerged from the darkness, the same cracked porcelain mask I had seen earlier. But now, in the dim light of the candles scattered around, I saw the glint of something metal in his hand. A knife. Chaos erupted. People screamed and shoved each other, desperate to get away. The man with the knife didn't run, though. He moved with slow, deliberate steps, his mask obscuring any emotion. I grabbed Megan's hand and pulled her toward the back of the mansion, searching for another way out. We found a side door leading to the kitchen and bolted for it, but when we pushed, it wouldn't budge. Whoever locked the front doors must have sealed this one too. We were trapped. I could hear footsteps behind us, getting closer. The sound of someone dragging something heavy echoed through the hall. I turned to Megan. "We have to hide." We darted into the pantry, slamming the door behind us as quietly as we could. Inside, it was pitch black. I could hear Megan's breath, rapid and uneven, matching the pounding in my own chest. The footsteps stopped outside the pantry door. We held our breath, not daring to move. The door handle turned. Slowly. I swallowed, pressing myself further into the shelves, trying to disappear. The door creaked open a few inches, and through the gap, I saw the porcelain mask again. He was looking for us. He stood there for what felt like an eternity, before finally turning away, leaving the door ajar. We didn't move until the sound of his footsteps faded completely. By some miracle, we found an old window in the pantry. It was jammed, but after what felt like hours, we managed to pry it open just wide enough to slip through. The cool night air hit my face like a slap. We didn't stop running until we were halfway down the hill, the mansion shrinking behind us. The police arrived later that night, but by then, the masked man was gone. No one knew who he was or how he got in. Drew was found unconscious in the basement, having been knocked out when the power went out. They never found the man with the porcelain mask, and no one could explain how he knew to lock every exit, trapping us inside. But one thing's for sure, I've never been to another Halloween party since.